one. Okay, we don't have an office page for this one now. The office called Cyclopean, and they wrote ancient Methanogens. Methanogens? How do you say this? Let's see here. Pronunciation. I'm not sure where you got what you talk about gay. I'm not sure about that stuff, but
Methanogen.
Methanogen. Okay, I'm not sure if that's correct. Let me look here. Oxford Dictionary. How do you guys say it?
Methanogen.
Methanogen. At least.
Methanogen.
Methanogen. Okay. And what does it mean? Let's learn what that means as well. Meaning. Methane-produced bacterium, especially an archean which reduces carbon dioxide to methane. Okay, Cyclopean, you wrote that. Again, not sure why Zeno just said gay. I don't, unless I missed something. But object class safe. Special containment procedures -1, -3. When you said the author, I thought you said gay. I did. No. I said they don't have an author's page and the name is Cyclopean. I'm not sure where you heard gay in that, but I really have really no idea where you heard that, but I will not question it. -1 and -3 are to be kept in a transparent, airtight glass container filled with fresh water, at least 10 meters cubed, reinforced with steel bars. The water in this container should be continuously aerated with a mixture of hydrogen gas and carbon dioxide. 25% of this water should be drained and replaced weekly. Cultures of anaerobic, autotrophic bacteria and archaea are maintained within this container for the purpose of feeding -1 and -3. A full list of the species cultured within SCP-2735's containment chamber can be found in document 2735-Gimel. If this container is damaged, -1 and -3 are to be relocated to a secondary container of the same design. Yeah, is homosexual, mate. Oh. You okay? Are you okay? Like that one misunderstanding in what I said has impacted you, eh? -4 is to be kept in separate containers designed to the same specification aside from being smaller, measuring at least 3 meters cubed and lined with foam padding. -4 is to be kept isolated from -1 and -3 at all times. A waterproof closed-circuit camera is placed within the container. A lamp is to be mounted to the top of the container to aid in sustenance for -4. -4 may be relocated to -1, -3 secondary container if its primary container is damaged, but -4 should not be within it at the same time as -1 or -3. Containment of extraterrestrial satellites related to SCP-2735 has been delegated to Project Heimdall. Hey! If you all know who Heimdall is from the Norse mythology, you get an Afro badge, which now we have here related documentation. Okay, interesting. Which this has been not even in the related documentation for some reason. Okay, cool. Various space observatories have been co-opted by the Foundation to determine the location of possible SCP-2735 artifacts in solar orbit. In the event of an SCP-2735 artifact being discovered, a standard Foundation retrieval team will be sent into orbit to recover the objects. On the unlikely circumstance that there is a surviving SCP-2735 instance on board an object, the object is to be transferred into an orbit around Earth and the orbit, so the surviving instance can be relocated to the primary SCP-2735 containment unit. Announcer of Ragnarok. And what else? What else did he do? there's I mean, there's a reason why he was able to announce it, but Dash 2's remains are preserved in secure containment locker 2735. Those who wish to access Dash 2 should submit a request to Site Command prior to the research. Hold on a minute. Mechanics, you should know who Heimdall is. He's from your mythology, man. Don't tell, like. What was I? I was like, so remains a preserved locker. Does wish access should be something. Okay, yeah. Description: SCP-2735 is a species of sapient aquatic organisms of which there are 3 surviving members. SCP-2735 is believed to have been dominant on Earth roughly 2.5 billion years ago, but was rendered functionally extinct. SCP-2735 are obligate anaerobes that consume carbon dioxide and produces methane and will become physically ill when exposed to oxygenated air or water, resulting in death if exposed to extended periods. SCP-2735 have the body structures arranged trilaterally. SCP-2735 instances range in length from roughly 1.5 to 3 meters long and from roughly 0.5 to 1.75 meters in diameter, with the majority of their forms being taken up by a long tail. SCP-2735 instances primarily interact with objects using 3 appendages located on the anterior of their bodies, with each further split into 5 secondary appendages intended for grasping. Each SCP-2735 instances possess a single compound eye located on the anterior of their body, covered by a translucent layer of skin. A circular toothless mouth is located on the proximate end of each of an SCP-2735 3 primary appendages. The internal body plan of SCP-2735 resembles that of a member of the phylum Echinodermata, but is almost certainly unrelated. Sawfish, sea urchins, sea cucumbers, etc. SCP-2735 resembles that of a member of the SCP-2735 instances are autotrophic and heterotrophic and derive sustenance from both filtering microscopic organisms from water ingested through the 3 mouths and collecting sunlight using a dense coating of wire-like fibers on the posterior of their bodies. Skin color in SCP-2735 instances vary between dark greens and browns, though it is possible that coloration was more varied among the larger population prior to its destruction. SCP-2735 lives in symbiosis with bioluminescent prokaryotes, which they are capable of altering the color of. SCP-2735 instances have extremely thin and porous skin. This allows for cutaneous gas exchange, which is the only method of respiration, and causes the bioluminescent organisms in the blood vessels to be extremely visible. SCP-2735's method of communication has not been translated by the Foundation as of yet, but appears to involve complex patterns of bioluminescent light. Yes, now I know Heimdall now, but there are other cooler people within Norse mythology. That's correct. Named gods are not Thor, Loki, or Odin. Freya. Although she's a Valkyrie, right? I guess. So does that fully count? Does that fully count? Baltor should count, right? The initial for SCP Hela, SCP-2735. You said instances were preserved in an advanced space station in a 9-degree retrograde solar orbit. A radio signal from the station was discovered by the Big Ear radio telescope in 1998 and subsequently intercepted by the Foundation. Frigg as well, Frigga, yeah. The signal was initially assumed to be alien in origin until Foundation astronauts were able to enter the craft and study the preserved organisms, identifying them as terrestrial. The station used by the SCP-2735 instances the station used by transferred into a terrestrial orbit and subsequently deorbited and used as a temporary containment for SCP-2735 until Foundation researchers could learn more about the subject's biology, at which point they were relocated to the current containers. Is Sutor a god or a beast? Because he's the one who brings Ragnarok as well, right? Sutor? Is he a god or a beast? Or more like a force? After the initial findings, other SCP-2735 space stations were discovered in similar orbits. However, all instances of SCP-2735 have either perished from the extended time in orbit or damage taken by collisions with other orbiting objects. Incident A on 19 Broggy as well, yeah. At 6:34 p.m., the rate and luminosity of all 4 SCP-2735 instances bioluminescent emissions dramatically increased. This was noted but not initially considered to be significant by observing personnel. At 6:42, the 4 SCP-2735 instances began repeatedly propelling themselves against a specific location on the primary containment chamber wall. This was recognized as a coordinated attempt to breach containment, and Foundation agents entered the chamber. At 6:47 at 5, agents attempted to restrain the SCP-2735 instances. -2 succeeded in breaching the wall of the chamber. -2 and the other instances were violently forced out of the containment chamber by the resulting flow of water. The SCP-2735 instances then demonstrated body language believed to be Fafnir is not a god, he's a dragon. He was a dwarf that became a dragon, so that doesn't count. You don't know Vadi? No, Vadi I do know the name of, but I haven't looked into that one. Believed to represent extreme agitation, presumably due to the harmful of oxygen in the air of the lack of mobility. Agents were successful in relocating the SCP-2735 subjects to the secondary containment chamber, where they were temporarily contained while the primary chamber was rebuilt with additional steel reinforcement. Incident B on 19 at 3:46 a.m. The 4 SCP-2735 instances again displayed heightened bioluminescent activity, and Ymir is a frost giant. He doesn't really count as a god either. He's the fall of the frost giants, who then later on become the earth was made out of his flesh, so he doesn't count either as a god. He's just but he's definitely one of the more important characters. Due to the similarities with behaviors prior to incident, Foundation agents were alerted in order to enter the SCP-2735 primary container. Before agents were able to arrive, the 4 SCP-2735 instances began to again propel themselves towards a location on the wall of the chamber. We have Tyr. Tyr is the one who was guarding Fenrir before his hand got bitten off. However, -3 stopped after 2 minutes and moved to the southeast corner of the chamber. While -1 displays similar behavior to -3 once Foundation agents entered the chamber at 3:54 a.m. No significant damage was done to the SCP-2735's chamber, and -2 and -4 were successfully restrained by Foundation agents until they ceased aggressive behavior. Incident C. There's a lot of incidents happening here, goddamn. On 2000 at 12:56 p.m., -4 began to attempt to breach containment in a fashion similar to previous incidents, though the other SCP-2735 instances remained idle. After Incident B, SCP-2735's special containment procedure were updated to include 4 Foundation agents in diving gear and body armor posted outside the container, and thus the incident was responded to immediately and -4 was restrained without incident. They just want to go back home. Just trying to get home. On 2000. At 5:41 a.m., heightened bioluminescent behavior was observed from both -2 and -4 due to the bioluminescent events from -2 and -4 without a follow-up containment breach attempt. This behavior was not considered significant, and thus no agent entered the chamber. Roughly 5 minutes after this was noted, -4 propelled itself towards -2. -4 attached itself to -2 using its grasping appendages and began to repeatedly throw -2 towards the chamber's wall. The 4 posted agents then entered the chamber but were repeatedly repulsed by -4. -1 and -3 moved to the far corner of the room and ceased bioluminescent activity at this time. Following this, -4 began to use its appendages to tear at -2's skin. Lovely. At 5:52 a.m., 2 additional agents entered the chamber and began to assist the initial 4 agents. The agents were successful in restraining -4, but not before it had succeeded in dealing a significant amount of bodily harm to -2. Following the incident, -4 was temporarily relocated to the secondary containment chamber while -2 was examined by Foundation doctors. -2 was confirmed to be clinically dead 4 hours after Incident D began. 14 days after Incident D began, -4 was transferred to its current chamber and the 4 agents assigned to SCP-2735 were reassigned to guard -4 specifically. I'm gonna have a tough time making a thumbnail for this. I have to reread this part. How it's like described. Incident E, on 2000 at 10:23 a.m., -4 began propelling itself towards the wall of its containment chamber. While repeated incidents have proven that -4 was incapable of actually breaching containment using his method, agent entered the chamber and restrained -4 to prevent it from harming itself in the attempt. Foam padding was added to the walls of -4's chamber to prevent it from accidentally harming itself. And then Incident F on 2000. At 10:45 p.m., -4 began to use its appendages to tear at its own flesh. Agents were successful in restraining it. A modified electronic shock collar was secured around -4's upper body to deter this behavior in the future. Woo. I don't know why it reminds me of like a little bit of of the game Spore. Like you just create like this fucking abomination of a thing, and then you have to take care of it. You like have to hope that they like can survive. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm gonna have to reread this for the thumbnail tomorrow because, damn. I was a little. Also, to be fair, I was a little bit distracted with what we were talking about. But yeah, no. That was The image in my head is that I just have the image of like a starfish with multiple like mouths, just like, you know, sticking to things and floating around and just like doing this with all mouths at the same time as it's just filtering the food from the water. Yeah. Ugh.